Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today I thought I'd try something a bit different in this Russian series, and we're going to read some personal descriptions. It's probably, I guess, the best way to learn how to do it is just to read other people's. There might be some things in this that are a bit advanced, but I'll try to explain everything in detail. I haven't explained everything that you'll read in this lesson, but I'll try to explain my best. Okay, so first of all we have this introduction. It says, «Привет, мне зовут Анна, мне 32 года». So we start off just hi, simply hi. Мне зовут, I've explained this before, it simply means me they call, which means I am called. I am Anna. So she is Anna. Then she says her age, which is a little bit complicated, but it's not too. The most difficult thing is the number rules. So it's basically mnie, to me, 32 years. I will explain number rules later. Basically, it changes the case depending on what the last number is. For some reason, I have no idea why. So basically, if it ends in 1, you say год for year. If it ends in 2, 3, 4, you say года, which is the genitive singular. Then if it ends in 5, 6, 7, the rest of the numbers, then you say лет. I don't know why, something you just kind of have to remember. So yeah, so if you say, for example, I am 21, you say мне 21 год. So the way numbers work, it's not too complicated really in Russian. You just say 10. We'll say, for example, like it's 20, you say 21. It's kind of the same in English. I'll explain the numbers in a future lesson, but okay, but continuing. Я работаю врачом в Москве. This basically means I am a doctor, or I work as a doctor in Moscow. So for some reason, I don't know why, but with the verb работаю, работать, to work, oftentimes they use the instrumental case, which is normally used to say with something. With something. For some reason they use this, so врач is doctor, it's a way of saying doctor, and they add the om, врачом. Я работаю врачом. I don't know why, something you just kind of need to remember. You can also say я стал доктором, I became a doctor, so with to be or anything like this. To be or become, we often use the instrumental case. Don't know why, just something you kind of need to remember. Then we have in Moscow. So in something or on something, we use the prepositional case. So Moskva is the base form, v Moskvе. So Moscow, Moskva, in Moscow, v Moskvе. So we add ye to the end for the prepositional case. Okay, next we have Я родилась и выросла в России. So basically, I was born in and grew up in Russia. We do have what's called a reflexive verb here, which is basically when a verb affects yourself. In English, we kind of say, for example, we don't have too many reflexive verbs in English, but an example would be something like I saw myself. He saw me, I saw myself. So we add myself. In Russian, they kind of add sia or as. It depends on the situation. I will have a future video about reflexive verbs. Oftentimes, you just add an ending and just don't really think about it a lot of the time. So, родилась is to be born, and it's a reflexive verb. And as is the feminine form. If a man said it, would say я родился, я родился, она родилась. It's kind of it depends on the gender. Because basically, I mean, verbs change for gender, like I kind of taught you before. So if it's past tense, читать, to read, я читал, она читала. As it's a reflexive verb, we add the s at the end, so it doesn't really work if you add a and then sia. So you just родилась. something you kind of need to remember. And again, we have in, so Россия, Russia, changed to России, в России. And the last sentence we have is мои интересы включают чтение, путешествия и искусство. Which means my interests include reading, traveling, and art. So here we have the word my, very useful word to know. It changes for plural here. So for example, we have мой, моя, моё, мои. This is masculine, feminine, neutral, plural. Here interests is plural, so we say мои интересы, my interests. So we change adjectives for plural. Then выключают, which means include, and we use the they conjugation. Включает, включают. You don't receive включаю. It doesn't really happen that much, but они включают, they include. And then we just use the nouns of these things. So чтение, читать, чтение. Read, reading. It's the noun. Then путешествовать, useful verb to know, to travel. Путешествовать, to travel. Путешествие, traveling, as a noun. Then искусство, which just means art. So paintings, drawings, art. I hope that was all clear. Alright, let's look at another example. Okay, the next example we have is Здравствуйте. Very, very nice word to say. Мне зовут Иван. Мне 28 лет. Я инженер из Украины. Мои хобби – футбол и музыка. So here we have hello, very, very formal way of saying hello. Привет is probably easier. Again, меня зовут. I am called, my name is Ivan, so he's called Ivan. He is 28 years old. Again, so we have, it ends in 8, so we say лет. Kind of a rule you just need to remember. Я инженер. I am a engineer. Again, we don't have articles, don't have am, so я инженер из Украины. Is basically means comes from. It's like if you want to know where someone comes from, you say is. And then we have to use the genitive case after this. Genitive case of Ukraina, Ukraini. Is Ukraini. So this is basically, I am an engineer from Ukraine. Again, I'll explain these cases in detail later. Just, yeah, so you know. Then we have мои хобби dash, which is basically just a way of saying is or are, and they don't really have a verb for this, so they just add a dash, kind of. You could say, like this advanced word, являются, or some, it just means are, but they normally, you don't need to say this. You can say мои хобби, and then say what they are. So my hobbies are football and music. So pretty simple, I think, this. My hobbies are football and music. Okay, the next example is a bit more complicated, but I'll try to explain everything. Okay, so we have Привет, я Лена. I believe this is a short form for. I believe this is the short form for the name Aliena. I believe. I'm terrible at Russian names. They kind of change a lot, but anyway. Here, the best example. So, мне 21 год. So again, it ends in 1, so you're going to say год, года, лет. Я студентка, so it's a girl, so you add ka, я студентка, из Санкт-Петербурга. Again, I'll explain the endings of cases later. Here, this is the genitive case because we have is. Again, is, we use the genitive case. St. Petersburg, St. Petersburg. We add a, St. Petersburga. So, I am a student from St. Petersburg. Я учусь на факультете лингвистики. So the verb учу means to learn, like изучать, учу. It's kind of an irregular verb. Because it's like учу, ищешь. No, ищешь. What am I talking about? Учу, uchish, uchit, uchit. Basically, when you're studying at university, you add and make it a reflexive verb for some reason. I don't know why. So if you want to say I'm studying at a university, you say ja uchus, ja uchus, instead of just ja uchu, because uchu just means you're studying something. It doesn't specifically mean you're studying at a university. So they say ja uchus. And then we have na. There are some weird, annoying rules to remember when you say na, when you say in. I don't really remember them a lot of the time. You kind of need to remember it. Sometimes it's logical, sometimes it's not. I think the basic rule is that you say na on when it's outside a long time ago. So for example, they say na kuchnie, in the kitchen. They say on because the kitchen used to be outside and we used to cook things outside, I guess, but most of the time you just remember it. So you say on. Basically, I study linguistics, or in the literally this is in the linguistic faculty, I guess, which faculty is kind of a cognate, but we don't really say it in English. Like you normally would say I study in the linguistic faculty. Like no one says this. We just say I study linguistics. They do in Russian, they say this. So literally I study myself on faculty of linguistics. And again, we use the genitive case to say of. So we have faculty of linguistics. We add I fakultete lingwistiki. Okay, we have мои увлечения, изучение иностранных языков и путешествия. A little bit complicated, but basically, so we have like the verb увлечься, I believe, which is basically to relax, or it just means interest, really. Увлечение just means what you do in your spare time, your interest, what relaxes you. And here, just simply, изучение is learning, изучать is to learn, изучение is the noun. You have иностранных языков. So иностранный, this is genitive plural. So we have foreign languages. My interests are studying foreign languages. The reason it's genitive plural, well, one, it's plural, and two, it's of. So the studying of foreign languages, we use the genitive case. Again, I'll explain these endings later. They're a bit advanced. But anyway, and then just and путешествие, which we've already had, which is just travel. So alright, so we're going to do one more. Alright, so we have Здравствуйте, меня зовут Дмитрий, мне 35 лет. Maybe you could understand this. So, hello, my name is Dmitry. I am 35 years old. Again, we have 5 at the end, so we've got to say лет. The rest of it pretty much the same as what we've already done. Here we have quite a complicated word. We have Я предприниматель из Kazakhstan. So basically this is I am an entrepreneur. It's kind of a difficult word to know. You don't really need to know it. Maybe if you are an entrepreneur, you need to know it. If you want to say this, basically, yeah, it's I mean the full version would be Я частный предприниматель, which is like I am a private. It just means I work for myself. I'm self-employed. So I'm an entrepreneur from Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is Kazakhstana. Again, we use the genitive case, which means we add a to the end. Okay, a bit advanced this. We have моя компания, my company, занимается информационными технологиями. Lots of instrumental case here. So my company, занимается is basically just a fancy way of saying does. Really, it does. It doesn't really work to say does here. It's kind of weird. Because you could say Я занимаюсь английским, which basically means I'm practicing studying English. I don't know why, but for some reason with заниматься you got to say the instrumental case. It's just something you kind of have to remember. So you use the instrumental case, and instrumental plural is just me at the end. So you have informationnymi, information technology, and you add imi to the end. Technologiyami. For example, simpler sentence. Я занимаюсь спортом. Basically means I do sport, really. It's a pretty simple thing. But you can't really say я делаю спорт. Maybe you could say this, but normally people say занимаюсь, which just literally it means I am busying myself with sport, is what you're literally saying. But just means I do sport, and for you basically sportum, you add the ending, the instrumental ending. Again, I'll explain these endings later. But so this is just simply my company does IT, pretty much, with a very. I'm not sure if you can even make it an acronym. Maybe you probably should do that, but I don't know. Okay, last sentence we have в свободное время я занимаюсь, again this word, занимаюсь, горными велосипедом и горными лыжами. Yeah, I believe the stress is горными лыжами, something like that. Anyway, right, so we have so this is kind of a weird thing. So this is actually accusative case. I don't know why, but a lot of the time when you say time, you use the accusative case. Again, I'll explain these later. I'm not really I don't really understand a lot of these rules. I kind of just see, oh, in this situation you use that. I don't really know why, because Russian people can't really explain it to me a lot of the time. For example, there are weird exceptions where you say, in 2 weeks, you use this preposition через. For some reason, you use accusative case. I don't know why. So you have неделя, the base form, через неделю. Why you say accusative case? I don't know. People say it. A lot of the time, I don't really know why things are said this way. I just see people saying it and just remember. So again, this is kind of a thing. So в свободное время they use the accusative case for some reason, whereas you're saying in, so it should theoretically be prepositional case. These cases will probably drive you mental, but anyway. So in my free time, it doesn't even say my either. It says in free time. So in free time, I занимаюсь. Again, I used this before. It means do. I do, basically. This is I do, and then we have to use the accusative. We have to use the instrumental case. Горным велосипедом, which means I do mountain biking and skiing. Basically, mountain skiing, I guess, if you want to be. So we have gora. I think the noun is gora. Gori means mountains. Горными just means mountain as an adjective. So. Alright, so a bit of advance today. So if you want to write one of these yourself, you'd basically follow this. I'd probably make it a bit more simple than what they're writing. So you could say something like Здравствуйте, меня зовут Том. Мне 31 года, or год, мне 31 год. I'm 31. You can say, for example, with me, я преподаватель английского языка. I'm an English teacher. Don't really make videos about English, but anyway. В свободное время мне нравится. Another useful phrase you could use. I like, мне нравится. Or мои интересы, my interests are. So мне нравится изучать другие языки и путешествия. Something like this. So you can make it a bit more simpler than what they're saying, but it's good practice to read what other people are saying, because that's probably the best way to learn. So if you see what native speakers are writing, you can copy it in a way. Often textbooks don't really give you the best examples. It depends on the textbook, but anyway. Let me know if you have any questions. I know this was a bit complicated. I explained most of this later. It's just, you kind of introducing yourself is quite important, so it's good to look at examples. But let me know if you have any questions, and see you next time.